Welcome to another deep dive. Get ready to explore Fujian, Guangdong, and Taiwan, three incredible regions in southeastern China.
Yeah.
Your notes and research are packed with fascinating stuff about their culture, history, and even some slang.
Lots of fun slang.
You'll learn why Buddha might jump over a wall in Fujian, get a taste of Cantonese opera secrets, and even find out how to say add oil in Taiwan. I'm already hooked, and I think you will be too.
It's going to be a fascinating journey. These three regions are deeply interconnected, but each has a unique cultural identity.
So let's unpack Fujian first. I was blown away by this fact. The city of Quanzhou was one of the largest trading hubs in the entire world during the Song and Yuan dynasties. What made that possible?
Well, Quanzhou's location on the coast made it a key player in the ancient maritime Silk Road. It wasn't just goods that flowed through. Think about the exchange of ideas and cultural influences that shaped Fujian's identity.
Right. It makes you realize how much geography influences a region's destiny. And speaking of identity, Fujian has this incredible cultural mix, right?
Absolutely. You have the Han Chinese influence blended with indigenous cultures and a strong Hakka presence.
The Hakka.
Yeah, the Hakka people. A subgroup of the Han Chinese migrated to Fujian over many centuries. They weren't just passing through the will. They contributed to the region's diversity and left their mark on everything from language to architecture.
Ah, you're talking about those amazing Tulu houses I saw in the research. They look like something out of a fantasy novel.
They are quite remarkable. These circular earthen buildings are a testament to Hakka ingenuity. Some of them can house hundreds of people.
Wow.
Imagine a whole village under one roof. That's community living on another level.
I read that they were built that way for defense, too. Makes sense with all the migrations and changes happening throughout history. Seems like resourcefulness was key to survival. But no exploration of Fujian would be complete without mentioning tea, would it?
Definitely not. Fujian is renowned for its tea culture.
Oh, yeah.
Think Tiguanyin, nicknamed the Iron Goddess for its rich flavor, and the robust Wei rock tea grown on the cliffs of Wei Mountains.
I'm picturing myself in a traditional tea ceremony, surrounded by those incredible aromas. It sounds incredibly peaceful. You know, in your research, you have a note about Buddha jumping over a wall. What's that all about?
That's the name of a famous Fujianese dish.
Yeah.
Legend has it that the aroma was so enticing, even Buddha would be tempted to jump over a wall to taste it.
Wow.
It's a complex dish, simmered for hours, with a variety of luxurious ingredients like abalone and sea cucumber.
It sounds incredibly decadent. So we have this vibrant mix of cultural influences, impressive architecture, and delicious cuisine. What else stands out about Fujian?
Don't forget the performing arts. Fujian has a strong tradition of puppetry, from intricate string puppets to shadow puppets that flicker against a screen, bringing ancient tales to life. And then there are the dragon boat races, especially in the coastal cities, which are a spectacle of color, rhythm, and community spirit.
It sounds like a place where tradition and modern life coexist beautifully. This makes me think about how Fujian's history is interwoven with Taiwan's, which is our next stop on this deep dive. But before we get there, let's swing by Guangdong, the heart of Cantonese culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Guangdong has not only shaped China, but has also had a huge impact on overseas Chinese communities worldwide. Remember those Hakka people we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, Guangdong saw waves of emigration, not just of the Hakka, but of other groups as well, who ventured out to Southeast Asia, the Americas, and beyond.
Wow, I hadn't realized the scale of emigration from Guangdong. It makes you realize how much one region can impact the world.
Speaking of impact, Guangdong is practically synonymous with dim sum, right? Tell me everything.
Dim sum literally means touch the heart. And it's more than just food, it's an experience. Think about those little steamer baskets filled with an assortment of savory dumplings, like hargao with their translucent wrappers, fluffy char siu bao buns, and delicate sweet treats. Each bite is a burst of flavor and texture. It's not just grabbing a quick meal, is it? There's a whole cultural ritual around dim sum, isn't there?
You're exactly right. Yum cha, which means drink tea, is the Cantonese tradition of enjoying dim sum.
I see.
Imagine a leisurely gathering with family and friends, sharing stories over endless cups of tea and those delicious little bites. It's about connecting with people as much as it is about the food itself.
That sounds like my kind of brunch. Okay, so we've covered the culinary delights, but Guangdong's music scene is pretty legendary too. Can you give us a quick tour?
Cantonese music has something for everyone. On one hand, you have the grandeur of Cantonese opera, with its elaborate costumes, stylized singing, and dramatic storytelling. And then there's the modern energy of C-pop, which has taken the world by storm. It's fascinating how this region has embraced both tradition and innovation in its music.
I have to admit, Cantonese opera is a bit of a mystery to me. What should I be listening for?
Think of it as a theatrical spectacle where every element tells a story. The costumes are vibrant, the music is dramatic, and the singing style is unique and powerful. It's a tradition that's been passed down through generations and continues to captivate audiences today.
I'm definitely adding that to my to-do list. Now, when we talk about C-pop, legendary artists like Lovey Chung and Anita Mui come to mind. What made them so iconic?
Leslie Chung was a true pioneer, one of the first global C-pop superstars. His incredible vocals and androgynous style challenged norms and captivated audiences worldwide. And then you have Anita Mui, often called the Madonna of Asia, who was a powerhouse performer known for pushing boundaries. Their music still resonates with millions today, a testament to their enduring impact.
It's incredible how their influence transcends borders, but Guangdong's music scene isn't stuck in the past, is it?
Definitely not. The cities of Guangzhou and Shenzhen are buzzing with a modern electronic music scene. Think EDM, hip-hop, and innovative artists who are blending traditional Chinese instruments with contemporary beats. It's a sonic fusion that reflects Guangdong's dynamic spirit, always evolving, always pushing boundaries.
I love that blend of tradition and innovation. Now, I'm ready to hawk over to our final destination, Taiwan, which is often described as a cultural crossroads. Before we dive into that, let's take a quick break.
Taiwan is an island nation that has absorbed influences from many different cultures throughout its history, resulting in a truly unique identity.
I'm ready to dive into that. What are some of the key historical periods that have shaped Taiwan into what it is today?
Well, you can trace it back to the 17th century with the arrival of the Dutch and Spanish. They established colonies, and the Dutch in particular left a lasting impact with the construction of Fort Zeelandia in Tainan. Then, remember Koxinga, who we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
He and his Ming loyalists expelled the Dutch, which was a pivotal moment for Taiwan.
So after Koxinga and the Ming loyalists, who came next?
The Qing dynasty took control of Taiwan in 1683, and their rule lasted for over 2 centuries. Then, following the First Sino-Japanese War in 1895, Taiwan was ceded to Japan, ushering in a new era of influence.
That's a lot of change in a relatively short period of time. How did the Japanese rule impact Taiwan?
The Japanese invested heavily in infrastructure development and introduced elements of their culture, some of which are still visible in Taiwan today. But it's the post-World War II era, when Taiwan came under the administration of the Republic of China, that has arguably shaped the island's modern identity the most.
Wow, so we have the Dutch, the Spanish, the Ming loyalists, the Qing dynasty, the Japanese, and finally the Republic of China. That's a lot of history packed into one island. It makes you wonder how all of those influences are reflected in daily life.
You're right. It's reflected in every facet of Taiwanese culture, from art and architecture to the language people speak and, of course, the food they eat.
Speaking of food, I'm ready to hear about all the deliciousness Taiwan has to offer. What are some must-try dishes?
Oh, there are so many. Let's start with beef noodle soup, a Taiwanese classic.
Okay.
Imagine a rich, savory broth, tender chunks of beef, and perfectly cooked noodles. It's pure comfort food, and every bowl tells a story of culinary heritage.
That sounds incredible. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. What else should we add to our list?
You can't miss out on guabao, which are fluffy steamed buns filled with braised pork belly, pickled vegetables, and crushed peanuts. It's a perfect balance of sweet, savory, and tangy, all in one delicious bite.
Those sound amazing. I was also curious about oyster omelets. I know they're popular in Fujian, but are they different in Taiwan?
You've got a keen eye for detail. While both regions feature oyster omelets, the Taiwanese version has its own distinct flavor profile. It combines fresh oysters with eggs, starch, and a savory sauce that's unique to the island. It's a popular street food, often enjoyed at night markets, which are bustling hubs of Taiwanese social life.
I'm adding that to my list right now, but let's be honest. The dish I'm most excited about is bubble tea. It's taken the world by storm, and I can't wait to hear how it all started in Taiwan.
Bubble tea's origin story is actually a bit of a delicious mystery. There are a couple of competing claims, which just adds to the intrigue. One story attributes its invention to a tea house owner in Taichung, who in the 1980s decided to experiment by adding tapioca pearls to iced tea. Another claims it originated in Tainan, where a tea shop owner, inspired by Japanese coffee jelly, decided to add tapioca balls to her milk tea.
Regardless of who came up with it, it's a brilliant creation. And while we're on the topic of uniquely Taiwanese things, I understand there are some interesting greetings and slang terms. I'd love to learn a few.
You'll love this. If you're in Taiwan, you'll likely hear Jia Babui, which means, have you eaten, in
Yeah.
Taiwanese Hokkien. It's not just a question. It's a common greeting that reflects the importance of food in Taiwanese culture.
That's so charming. It shows how much a simple greeting can reveal about a culture's values. What about any fun slang terms?
Well, you have Xiao Long Bao, which literally means small basket bun, referring to those amazing soup dumplings. But it's also used to describe someone cute or delicate.
So you could say, ah, look at that baby. He's such a xiao long bao.
Exactly. It's adorable. And then there's boba, which is used to refer to those chewy tapioca pearls in bubble tea. But be careful because it also has a more, shall we say, cheeky double meaning. It can be slang for big breasts.
Oh my, I'll have to be careful how I use that one.
It's just a reminder that language is always evolving, adapting, and reflecting the playful side of culture. Speaking of evolving, you have some notes on Taiwanese baseball. Tell me more about that.
Right. I was fascinated to learn that baseball is hugely popular in Taiwan. It's not just a sport, it's a cultural phenomenon that brings people together. I was particularly interested in the history of how baseball was introduced to Taiwan during the Japanese colonial period and how it's become a symbol of national pride.
It's fascinating how a sport can become so deeply entwined with a nation's identity. The Taiwanese national baseball team's success on the international stage has been a source of immense pride for the island. And let's not forget the passionate fans who fill the stadiums, creating an electric atmosphere.
It sounds like Taiwanese baseball is a cultural experience in itself. Now, before we wrap up our exploration of Taiwan, there's one more thing I want to touch on: religion. Your research mentions that Taiwan has a unique blend of religious beliefs.
Yes, it's a fascinating mix. You'll find a blend of Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, folk religions, and even some Christian influences. Temples and shrines are an integral part of the landscape, and you'll often see people burning incense and making offerings.
You know, exploring these three regions has really highlighted the interconnectedness of it all. From the Hakka people's migrations to the spread of culinary traditions like dim sum and bubble tea, it's clear that these regions have shaped each other in profound ways.
It's like a cultural tapestry, woven with threads of tradition, innovation, and those delightful quirks that make each place so unique.
And that brings us to the end of our dip dive into Fujian, Guangdong, and Taiwan. What an incredible journey. What stands out to you the most?
It's hard to pick just one thing. But I think what continually amazes me is how these regions have managed to preserve their cultural identities while embracing change and influencing the world.
I completely agree. It really makes you think about the ripple effect of cultural exchange. Take Cantonese cuisine, for example.
Right.
Dim sum is now enjoyed worldwide. Or think about bubble tea, a Taiwanese invention that's captured the hearts and taste buds of people all over the globe. It's amazing.
Yeah, those culinary and cultural exports become ambassadors of their regions in a way. They spark curiosity and a deeper appreciation for the diversity of Chinese culture. And it all comes back to those historical connections we talked about, the migrations, the trade routes, and the constant interplay of ideas and traditions.
It's a reminder that the world is far more interconnected than we realize, and that exploring those connections can lead to some pretty incredible discoveries. I know I've learned so much from diving into your research on Fujian, Guangdong, and Taiwan. I don't know about you, but I'm suddenly craving some dim sum and bubble tea. What was your biggest aha moment from this deep dive?
It's hard to pick just one. But I think what's most fascinating is how these regions have managed to preserve their cultural identities while also embracing change. Take the Hakka people, for instance. Their journey from Fujian to Guangdong and even further to Taiwan and Southeast Asia shows their resilience and adaptability.
That's a great point. They carried their traditions with them while also adapting to new environments and contributing to the cultural landscapes of the places they settled. It speaks volumes about the power of cultural exchange and the enduring spirit of these communities.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a reminder that cultures aren't static. They're constantly evolving through these interactions and exchanges. And I think that that's what makes exploring them so fascinating. There's always something new to discover, a different perspective to consider, a story waiting to be uncovered.
It's like peeling back layers of history and culture, revealing the intricate connections and influences that have shaped these regions. And you know what? I think this is a perfect reminder for all of us to stay curious, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world around us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into Fujian, Guangdong, and Taiwan as much as we have. Let us know what stood out to you and what other aha moments you had along the way. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, happy exploring.